So in terms of formalising it, as you've said, I think much of that is partly about having that sense of purpose and that sense of how things connect and how things progress. And it's also, I would say that the best curriculums are the ones that are internalised by educators. And actually they're doing this all the time. So for instance, in child-led situations, for instance, as an educator you might decide to teach a child a different fact or a different piece of knowledge, or you might introduce them to vocabulary. Well, that is a part of curriculum. You're saying, I think the child needs to know this, and therefore in this context I'm going to do this. I haven't planned this, it's not formalised in any way. This is a moment in a child's learning when this is absolutely appropriate and important for that child. I was in a school last week actually where the children were exploring magnets and they were exploring using them and so on. And the teacher intervened very skillfully to start feeding in words like attract, repel and non-magnetic. Because what the children were doing was going around and they were actually experimenting on different things all around the classroom and using the word it sticks or it doesn't stick or it pushes away, which is the experience. Now what she did very skillfully was say the words we use are attract, the word we use is repel, and when it doesn't stick at all we use the word it's non-magnetic. So after a couple of minutes of this they started using that language, and as it happened the lanyard I was wearing was it didn't stick, and they were saying it's non-magnetic. So that's a really good example of that internalised curriculum, and I think practitioners have in their well of experience all those moments and all those pieces of information almost subconsciously where they're saying here is a moment when this is appropriate for that child. So it wouldn't have been right for that teacher to have gathered all the children together and say, okay, at this point we're all going to find out this terminology. But at that point for those children that was absolutely right, and that was a really good example of spontaneous, if you like, curriculum progression.